Hey everybody, it's Jackadary here. Sorry. So, a lot of people wonder how do you take care of a rotary engine? So, I'm going to give you information on how to take care of a rotary engine, but it's basic information for the basic car owner. Here we go. Here's my list. Okay, how to take care of a rotary engine. Use the right conventional oil. It depends on the type of rotary engine there is, but I think for the RX-8 I have, it requires 10W20 conventional oil. Now, the reason you should use conventional oil is that by design, the engine injects oil in where combustion occurs. And if that oil does not burn away, um, it leaves some sort of film around the rotary housing, and rotary engines have apex seals that rub against that rotary housing. It could wear down the apex seals and you can lose compression. So that's number one. Number two, if you have, oh shoot, hold on. Yeah, if you have a stick shift, make sure to shift at higher RPMs. If you don't shift at higher RPMs, well, the engine is designed to run at a high RPM, so make sure you rev the engine high and just shift at a higher RPM. I do it around 4,000, 5,000 RPM. Don't worry, that sounds like a lot, but it's not. The car has a rev limit of 9,000 RPM, so that's not even close to being a lot. So it's designed to rev high, and you could be lugging the engine, which is worse than stalling the engine. So that is number two. Number three, use premium gasoline. So these rotary engines have been around for not even 100 years. They're much more new than the piston engine. So you should be using premium gasoline. And you don't want knocking to occur in your engine, which is very, very bad. And that can be the result of not using higher end gasoline. So make sure you use premium gasoline for the best gas mileage, and I usually get Shell or Chevron gasoline because they have the cleaners. And yeah, that is number three. Okay, every time you drive, or close to every time, you should rev your car up to around 8,000 or 9,000 RPM. And here's the reason why. So, when you do that, well, actually, let's just go and say this. In the rotor housing, you have, you could have carbon buildup. And actually, if you look at how the rotary engine works, it acts sort of like an old engine, so you will have carbon buildup inside of the engine. Now, what revving it high does is it gets rid of those carbon deposits. So once in a while, drive the car like a madman, go full acceleration, because that'll help get rid of the carbon deposits. And if those carbon deposits keep on building up, again, it could wear out the apex seals and you could lose compression a lot faster. And that is number four. I think it is number four. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so once in a while, just drive the car like you're on a racetrack. It'll keep the engine healthy. Okay, now this is the most important one, in my opinion, because if you fail to do this, carbon deposits again can build up in the engine. So, once you start up the car, do not shut it off until the idle normalizes. Now, here's the reason why. And if I could find a picture of a rotary engine, shoot. Whatever, okay. So, the reason behind this is that let's put it in simpler terms, if you don't shut it off until the idle normalizes, you risk the possibility of flooding the engine. And when you flood the engine, you could basically, carbon deposits will build up, you could lose compression. It's not good for the engine at all, especially the starter. And it's not good for your spark plugs. It's not overall a good idea. But I see all these things on Facebook and all these complaints about the car. Oh, the car floods way too much. Oh, it's a bad car because it floods. It's not a bad car. You just need to know how to take care of a rotary engine, and that's the purpose of this video. So again, do not shut off the car until the idle normalizes. Okay? That, in my opinion, is the most important one. So that is number 5. And I had that happen one time when it flooded. I wasn't driving the car at the time, but it wouldn't start up, and eventually it did, but it is not fun at all. It hasn't so far, at least hasn't happened since. Okay. After a cold start, give the car a few minutes to warm up before going and driving the car like a madman. So this is the same with all cars. You shouldn't be accelerating too quickly or revving the engine just not revving it too high until the car is completely warmed up. Another thing, always replace parts immediately when they are needed. This is the same with all cars, but this car, even more so. Get those oil changes done. So what you want to get those oil, oh yeah, this is number 7. You want to get those oil changes done because, like I said, the oil gets injected into the engine. Actually, I'm not sure how the oil circulates in the engine around the car, but just take my word and change the oil around 3,000, 5,000 miles. That'll help keep your engine really healthy. And also, make sure you check the oil at least every 500 miles. One time I did not do that for about 500 miles, and so much oil got burned off that it was below the limit line. So I went to, I think it was AutoZone O'Reilly's. And I bought 10W20, I'm not sure if that's the oil, but I bought some oil, conventional oil, and put it in the engine. And so far hasn't burned much oil. And I always carry a tank. Well, I have 5 quarts of oil in my trunk right now, but that's just for an emergency. So make sure you always check the oil. The car by design, or the engine by design, drinks oil. And that is pretty much it. That's pretty much it for the basic car owner. There should be enough information to help you. I hope this helped. Have a nice day, and I'm Jack Derry, and I'll see you later.